All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a somber episode of CA Overwatch. This is the episode where we talk about the Toronto Defiant, where we talk about our feelings, our disappointment, and most importantly, how wrong we were about the Defiant's potential and our predictions going into this weekend, and about how I talked way too much shit on Twitter for this outcome to happen. Man, I was. Like, I understand the rain going the way it went, but to watch us get 3-1 by Houston, and I predicted it on the podcast. I even made a joke last episode. If you guys haven't watched that, check that out. It was with Eric from the Overwatch Beer League. Where I was like, man, watch like Houston just play watch Houston watch our success and then just play dive and beat us at our own game. And that's literally exactly what happened. So without further ado, let's break down the games.
Guys, if you want to share your feelings in chat, F in chat.
F in chat, please. Just maybe say some final words for the passing of our playoff hopes. No, that's a little too dramatic. So we're gonna talk about the Atlanta Reign game. We're gonna talk about the Houston Outlaws game. For those of you who don't know, we got 3-0'd by Atlanta. We then got 3-1 by Houston, and then we're gonna predict the Florida game because given hero pools, I actually think that one might be interesting. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay. Chris. What were you most disappointed about?
Yeah. So for the Atlanta Reign game, what I was most disappointed about, I mean, the whole weekend obviously losing to Houston, but specifically for the Atlanta Reign game, I think it was like just our inability to adapt to what I don't think is this like crazy overpowered composition.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, we were just talking with Broy about how impressed I was about them adapting.
Yeah.
And he said they're way better at adapting
than the previous team.
And we've had problems with adapting in the past, and then this happens. And what's the main problem? It's that we weren't really adapting.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, I understand. So I will defend the Defiant to a degree because Atlanta Reign had 4 weeks off to prepare for this, right? You have 4 weeks to prepare for 2 matchups. We clearly showed our hand by how much we ran dive versus Philadelphia. People knew that was what we were going to do. A lot of these maps have been played before, and we'd ran dive on them, right? Blizzard World was played before. Anubis was played. Even I think it was Nepal for Control. That was played before. So a lot of people knew what to expect. And it's tough to really blame the Defiant for like, oh, you couldn't adapt on the fly to a May Torb, Reinhardt Orisa, Bat Brig composition. You know what I mean? Like it is a really weird composition. And I think we were also unlucky because not only did the composition directly counter ours, it also was like comfort picks for the Atlanta Reign, right? It's not like we were trying to force another team to flex over to this, right? It's not like we were forcing Houston to run double put Mecco on the Orisa, and you know what I mean? It was Gator got to play as Orisa, which we know is really good. Popo got to play the Ryan, which you know is good. Dogman is a really good Baptiste player. Baby Bay is really flexible and he can play the Torb really well. Erster's just a god, just is really good at everything, but especially May. So it's one of those things where not only did the strategy counter us perfectly, I think it also fit their team really well. And it goes back to people just like playing their comfort picks and it working well for them.
Yeah, that was a big problem. They played really well, but
because smoke.
I mean, there's some consistent bad parts about our play that were consistent throughout both the Atlanta Reign and Houston and the Houston game. I mean, like Kareev, I think he was being a little too aggressive.
Yeah, especially on I forget which game it was, but he rolled out on BAP for a little bit. I think it was actually Houston when we were running because we ran double shield, which was interesting, and probably the last time we're gonna see us run double shield unless we pick up an Orisa player, because that didn't look very. Actually, I shouldn't say it didn't look very good because we did get like 50%. But yeah, Kareev ran out on Baptiste and like was frontlining it back to back and then just got beat. So you definitely saw that his Ana. I mean, I heard his Zen's really good, but his Ana is definitely better than his Baptiste.
Yeah, and then we have Nevix, which was he wasn't controlling the map as well as he could. And then Calyx, I don't know. I've never really seen that guy do
Yeah, Kellex
much, even when we were winning.
but the issue is like I also haven't sat down and watched a VOD of Kellex, right? It's easy for the main
Yeah,
support just to get lost in things, so I don't want to like harp on Kellex too much. I do think he dies first a little bit more than I like him to. Um, but how much of that is style of play? Like I don't really want to come on here and start like criticizing him without really like actually sitting down with the game and watching it from his perspective to see is he overextending or is this just the team knows how to play against our team? Like is it just a style of play thing? So I do think you brought up a good point though before we recorded the show, which was, man, their Halt Fire Strike combinations were devastating to us. Like they landed way too many times. I know that's a tough thing to stop, but like that is also sort of on the diva to eat those, right?
Yeah.
Like at some point, I understand it's easier said than done, but at some point the diva's got to be able to eat either the Halt or the Fire Strike. You know what I mean? Like,
Literally pick one.
yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. Like it's like after the first 4 kill, it's oh well that was luck.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another 3 kill.
And another, it just kept happening. So that was, yeah, it was a really disappointing game because I thought we could legitimately take this to 5. I thought there's a possibility we won 3. I knew we were going to lose Nepal. I thought we could maybe win Blizzard World. It just didn't happen. The other issue was these were what am I trying to say here? The other issue was I do know, so in defense of Defiant, I do know that we are a team that plays better on like escort maps. Like we seem to be a less brawly team and a better like positioning team. So I was like looking forward to see how we would play the escort maps versus Atlanta Reign, but we never really got an opportunity. They beat us on Nepal, and then we got full held on Blizzard World, so we never actually broke into the escort part of Blizzard World, and then we lost Temple of Anubis. So I think our best opportunity to like get some confidence back would have been winning an escort map. We just never got there.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And the one thing that I want to point out, I think even more concerning is, so I was having a discussion with somebody on Twitter, and they're like, yeah, like Atlanta Reign just kind of like threw us out of our sorts, and everybody was depressed for
The Houston game?
The Houston game, and that's what like made it suck. I was like, oh yeah, okay, like that kind of makes sense, possibly, but like, weren't we like just talking with like a bunch of people from Toronto Defiant who were like, what is the real good part about Fefe is the fact that he can keep people's like mental abilities in check. He's really good with like motivation.
That was one of the biggest strengths of this team, right? When Broy came on, he said the biggest strength of this team is the fact that they're mentally strong, the fact that they're very competitive, untiltable, right? Like that. He didn't say untiltable, but that was sort of the. I'm paraphrasing, so it's not direct quote, but quote, but yeah, like yeah, exactly. A big bonus of this team was supposed to be how strong our mental game was. So I don't know if I put too much stock into Houston beating us because we're boomed. I actually don't think that was it. I think we weren't. I think back-to-back games we weren't prepared. Houston ran a dive that we hadn't seen before. I talked about it. I was like, man, if this team runs Doomfist dive, it's really good. Like this team would be a really good Doomfist dive team. I think they ran that, and I was actually disappointed that we didn't have the confidence to counter dive them. And I'm not sure if it was we didn't have the confidence or we were just like, let's just run a counter, because obviously like they did. It's not like they just ran mirror and lost, right? Like they for the Houston game, they ran the dive, and we did run like a Reaper May with the Moira. Like we did make adjustments, so it's not like we didn't try to adapt. But at some point, I'm like, if they're running Blizzard World attack on defense and dive, fucking dive them. Like you made your brand and your name for this season as the dive team, and then twice Houston run dive and you try to counter it. Like fucking run your own dive. You know what I mean? Like I was really disappointed that we didn't go dive. And maybe they like saw how the first one went. They're like, you know what, this team's just better at dive, and we can't win that mirror, which is a possibility. But it's going to be disappointing if we can't beat the Houston Outlaws at dive, and we can't beat good teams at like the Atlanta Reign at mirror. It's like, man, I don't know. You know what I mean? Can we not beat mirror teams at mirror? We can't beat dive teams at dive. Like
then what can we beat?
Like, did we just cheese Philadelphia? Is that really all we did? That we just caught them with a strategy that they didn't see coming, and now people saw it coming and they know how to adapt, and now we just lose? Like, is that the case with this team? I don't think so. Like, I think we have enough talent to get some wins still. I still do. I still have faith. But man, losing to Houston was soul crushing. Like after 2019, man, and it was really unfortunate because, and this is something that happened with the Toronto Ultra as well for the Call of Duty League. And we haven't done our episode yet, but we will one day.
Someday.
But with the Call of Duty League, they had a really good showing against the Chicago Huntsmen. And the same with us. We had a really good showing against the Philadelphia. And it was kind of nice to see the momentum, I think, shift for this team. This was a team that was, I thought, personally underrated a lot coming into the season. And then we did sort of make the joke that they might be overrated after the Philly game. But it was a team that I thought had a lot of potential. And it was also a team that had, like, again, they had a lot of momentum for this team. A lot of people were talking about them on Twitter. They were rising up people's power rankings. There was a lot of positive energy. And I think what they really needed this weekend was to go out there, and even if they lost, was to go out there and lose to Atlanta, but show life, and then to beat Houston. And it was probably the worst case scenario. Like, this was a fan base that desperately needed positive momentum. We haven't felt that in over a year since stage 1 of 2019. And then we finally get it with the 3-2 loss to Philly. And then the next week, it's just crushed. It's not even taken away from us. It's like, it's just crushed by a 3-0.
It's not even like we beat.
We weren't even close. We weren't even close to
like
Atlanta.
We beat Houston on the maps that we're good at.
I know. I tweeted this. If you had told me last week when we were doing the show that not only would the Defiant lose 3-1 to Houston, but our one win would be control with agilities and logics, I would have called you a liar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would have laughed.
Yeah, take me back.
I would have kicked you off the show. I would have been like, your analysis is terrible. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you're done. And that's exactly what happened. And when we won control, I was good. I was like 3-0. Like, this is a 3-0 when we won that control map.
Yeah.
And then we just proceeded to, I don't know, they ran a dive and they just pulled to us. They just beat us at our own game.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from that this week.
I think you cut out there. What'd you say?
I said, moving on from that, let's talk about the Florida game this week.
Yeah. So the Florida game, I think last week we were unprepared. I do think preparation played a big part. I think this week, both teams probably are going to be unprepared. There's going to be another case, though, where they're like, because let's be serious here. So with the hero pools and hero bans, for those of you who don't know, Reinhardt's banned next week. Sombra's not. What am I saying? Sombra's not banned. Reinhardt's banned. Widowmaker is banned. McCree's banned. And Moira's banned. So, in terms of compositions that I think will be run, I think we will see dive. I think the teams that can run dive will run dive. Because I think Sombra Doomfist is still going to be strong. Because even though May is still in the map pool, I think Surefour tweeted out.
And Reaper.
Reaper's still in the map pool. But Moira's not, which is a big, and neither is Ryan, which is a big part of those compositions, right? Like, when you run the Reaper May rush comp, it's hard to do that without the Reinhardt Moira for the healing.
Yeah, I know, but they I feel like they could, if you wanted, you could want a counter dive comp with, I don't know, like Orisa, May, Reaper.
I don't think you'd have the rush. You could maybe Orisa. You could maybe play what we saw in stage 1, which was the May Reaper. Sorry, with the Orisa Diva. It's possible, but you don't have the Moira. I don't know. I don't know what you'd run in. I guess the Baptiste.
I feel like that would be a defense. I feel like that'd be a defense comp where you let like the people dive into you and then you just crush the dive. And that's.
I think you'd replace the Reaper with the Torb. I think if you're gonna run the defense comp, you just play Torb instead.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But what do you think? How do you think Toronto's gonna fare in that?
So I mean, part of it's the compositions. I don't know, right? I think Toronto will run Doomfist dive, and I think that
they will too.
I think we might. There's a possibility we run like a. Probably not the Torb. I don't know if we run that strategy unless Mangatru gets called up. But there's a possibility we run like a Poe comp where it has like Orisa Diva and you see like a Hanzo May. Like I could see that composition being really good with like an Ana Baptiste or even like a Zen Baptiste. Although I think Zen's too diveable, so probably an Ana Baptiste. So I think that's a possibility. But I do think that Doomfist Sombra dive is going to be what we run. The problem is if you're Florida, you have to know that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just run... Now, again, Orisa Diva, Torb May, Baptiste, Brig is a pretty hard comp to dive. But is it good enough to stop our Sombra Doofus dive? Like, we'll see.
Yeah, honestly, we just have to like wait and see which team. Like, I don't think anybody's going to catch anybody else by surprise. I think that it's just going to come down to who can run their comps better. And
Yeah.
before last week, it would have been like, yeah, easy Toronto, but now I'm just a little bit scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I know this was like a hard one to prepare for. Like I was trying to make notes for the game, but I'm like, fuck, I don't know what they're gonna run. Like I don't know what either team's gonna run. Like we can kind of theory craft, and I do think it's gonna be our dive. And if you're Florida, you have a pretty decent dive team. Yaki can really play a good Doomfist, right? That's one of the reasons why you picked him up. You have BQB to play the Sombra. That's what he's known for. Like in theory, Florida's Sombra Doomfist dive should be really good.
Yeah.
But, I was disappointed in BQB's Sombra last year. I don't know if they have a really good monkey between Fate and Cryan. I think our Diva's better. Like I think our tank line's better, especially for dive. I think Surefour can hang with BQB and on Sombra.
Yeah.
Agilities. We should talk about agilities when we talked about the Houston game, because I actually thought he had a bad game. I thought he was in a really bad game. I think in both games agilities did not look good. So agilities, while there's definitely moments where agilities can carry a map, right? There's the potential for agilities to win you a map. He can be that good, but man, he needs to show some consistency. And I don't know if that's the way we play around him. I don't know what the issue is. His mails got eaten way too much. And yeah, Meko's a really good diva, but at the same time, he's choreographing them. Like he's clearly telegraphing them. People are figuring him out.
Yeah.
Because it got eaten a lot versus Philly. It got eaten a lot versus Houston. So either he needs to figure that out. Now, obviously, if we run dive, it's not going to be an issue because his Doomfist is clearly better. So I hope he can have a bounce back performance. But even as Doomfist, he's super aggressive and he really telegraphs himself going in there. So we'll see. I think Toronto can win this.
Yeah.
I do think our tank line's better. Our coordination should be better. We should be better practice on dive since we've ran it 3 weeks now, going on 4.
Yeah.
But I'm really worried that Florida just plays this Torb, May, Diva composition with the Baptiste and a Brig, and we can't dive into them, and then I don't know what we run from there. Like I don't know what our other option is.
Yeah, I've confidence that we'll win this. If we don't, though, then I think the coaching staff will seriously have to consider changing up how they coach. They only do 2 scrims at this point a day. Maybe they have to consider doing 3 scrims a day.
We'll see. It's tough because it's also the first week, so I want to give this team a little bit more time before I start suggesting like changes, especially the drastic ones. Right. Not drastic ones. Like adding a third block isn't a big deal, but. Everyone talked about teams that benefited hero pools. Toronto Defiant was supposed to be one of them. So let's see it. This is you don't have to play the McCree anymore. You know what I mean? The Moira was a big proponent of countering dive. That's no longer in the meta. There's no Reinhardt, right? Reinhardt's, again, not fun to dive into. Aris is a lot easier. So let's see. Let's see this team finally do what people said they were going to do in tier pools and pop off. And I think we can, but man, if we lose 3-1, 3-0, like I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
I'm thinking it's going to be a 3-2. What about you?
3-2 Florida, 3-2 Defiant?
Yeah.
Man, if you're the Defiant, you got to be pissed off. Like this team needs to come back and they need to like Florida has not looked great. We need to show this needs to be a statement win. So I'm gonna say 3-1. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and just say they were unprepared and maybe a little mentally boomed. But I think that this team needs to go out there. And the issue is if they run. I haven't seen Florida's Sombra Doomfist dive. I think it's actually gonna be pretty good. But this team needs to make a statement. And yeah. I think they win 3-1. That's my prediction.
Well, I guess you guys will be hearing back from us next week about whether or not our confidence is up or not.
Man, if we get 3-0 or we lose 3-1, like I'm deleting the YouTube channel. It's gone. I can't do this again. I can't go through 2019 again. Please. I have faith. I think we can do it. I don't want to sell all of the stonks just yet. I sold a lot last week, but not all of them. I still have faith. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Toronto Defiant stocks took a dip with the S&P last week.
For sure. 100%. Yeah. It's tough out there. But again, hero pools is our meta. Part of the anti-dive is gone. This team can run a pretty good Hanzo if they need. They have 2 good Hanzo players. People are theorizing that Tracer might be meta. Like, could you see Surefour's Hanzo, Logic's on Tracer? That'd be really fun. I think Logic's Tracer did look really good. Maybe you start running Surefour Logics more. maybe that's a composition that you need to run. You know, we ran on Havana, we looked really good. Since then, we ran sure for agilities because it worked for us versus Philly. But if you're not going to run dive, maybe that's something we see. Who knows?
Yeah, you're definitely right. Let's figure that out. Okay. Yeah, well, you guys know where to find us. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. And
sorry for the more somber attitude of this episode. We're normally a little bit more hyped up, but man, I went to rewatch the games. I usually watch them twice before I do the show, and I just couldn't. I started watching the Atlanta game, and I shut it off, and I said, not this week. I said, not today, man. Not today.
Not today.
All right, anyway. Enjoy, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, enjoy.